Hello and welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I want to bring another update to the homeless crisis here in America. And I want to draw a direct connection to the rise in vacation rentals. So the homeless crisis is happening for a number of different reasons, but one of those is partly because of the increase of vacation rentals, right? So there's a report on New York Times that's giving some of the details of the homeless crisis and when it started. It's worse than it has ever been, but there are some things that go hand in hand with that, right? Of course, many reasons are given, but I want to talk about the vacation rentals. But before I do that, I'm going to go to the New York Times and share what they are reporting first. So based on the New York Times, it says that America's homeless problems America's homelessness problem has the makings of an acute crisis. Shelters across the U.S. are reporting a surge in people looking for help, with wait lists doubling or tripling in recent months. The number of homeless people outside of shelters is also probably rising, experts say. Some of them live in encampments, which have popped up in parks and public spaces in major cities from Washington, D.C. to Seattle since the pandemic began. So a lot of this happened as a result of all of the chaos with the pandemic. Okay. Of course, we had a major problem before that, but it's gotten worse. It has gotten far worse than it ever was. Okay. So it says an inflation is compounding the problem. Rents have increased at its fastest rate since 1986, putting houses and apartments out of reach for more Americans. Okay, so look at that rising rent thing, right? Breaking away from the article for a moment. A lot of people are raising the rents because a number of things have happened. The debt that they may own on the home may have increased as well. That being said, they need to be able to cover that debt. So there is that increase in rent for that reason. Okay. A lot of people can't keep up with the increases. They can't keep up with the inflation. That's the owners and the renters, right? When the owners say, well, look, I have more expenses. It's costing me more now to carry this house. I have to raise the rent. The renter then absorbs that. And if they can't afford to absorb that cost, then they become homeless if they cannot find something. And so what's happening is a number of things are eating up rentals. And I'm going to get into the vacation rentals in just a moment. But anyway, back to the article. It says, and inflation is compounding the problem. Rent has increased at its fastest rate, putting houses and apartments out of reach for more Americans. It says the crisis means more people do not know where they will sleep tonight. Living in the streets, people are exposed to more crime, violence, and bad weather, including extreme heat. They can lose their job in the chaos of homelessness, and they often struggle to find another one without access to the internet or a mailing address. So this is a really serious problem, guys. It really is a serious problem, okay? It says there's a certain posture that you take when you are homeless. Ivan Perez, who lived in a tent in Los Angeles, told the Times, you lose your dignity. Okay. Homelessness has become a particularly bad political problem for the Democrats who govern big cities where it is most visible. It has played a role in recent elections, like the recall of San Francisco's district attorney last month. More Americans now say they worry a great deal about homelessness compared with the years before the pandemic. Now, I wanted to just say something real quick. They say homelessness has become a particularly bad problem for the Democrats who govern big cities. That kind of political jargon is ridiculous to me because I don't believe Democrats or Republicans can care about where you lay your head at. I just don't, right? They just don't. And I don't see any type of anything happening from either one of those camps that is going to solve this issue. It's ridiculous to try to make this a Democrat or Republican thing. This is an American crisis because neither one of these two parties care about its citizens the way they try to pretend like they do. It says the origins of the current homelessness crisis go back decades to policies that stopped the U.S. from building enough housing. Experts say 7 million extremely low-income renters cannot get affordable homes, according to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. Today's newsletters will look at how the country got to this point. Okay. Supply and demand. It says no factor matters more to homelessness than access to housing. Poverty, mental illness, addiction, and other issues do play roles, but they are less significant. Many cities and states in the Midwest and South, for example, have higher rates of mental illness, poverty, or addiction than other parts of the U.S., but they have similar or lower rates of homelessness. What explains regional variation in housing market conditions, said Greg Colburn, a housing expert at the University of Washington. Housing researchers use the example of musical chairs. Imagine there are 10 people for 9 chairs. One person weighed down by poor health does not make it to the chair. Is the problem that person's health or the lack of chairs? Is the problem of the person's health or the lack of chairs? Homelessness then is a supply and demand problem. Without enough housing, not everyone has a place to live. And the homes that do exist cost more as people compete for limited supply. So more people are priced out and more end up homeless. So we are looking at a number of different issues and reasons, poverty, drugs, bid wars now, because there is such a high demand or high need for rentals. This pushes the market up, right? And so those who can't afford it are usually the ones who are pushed out. Now, what I want to do now, because there's a whole lot more to this article than I care to cover, I want to get into the vacation rental aspect of things, okay? One thing that I know for sure, and I have been noticing, I've actually heard it through the grapevine, through some, is that a lot of people who are renting to an individual, especially in highly sought after areas, they are pulling those rentals off of the market because in many cases, what one person is paying you for a whole month, you can actually earn in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of rental for that same property. Okay. And so when you look at it from a business standpoint or a business perspective, a person who owns the home is going to look at what's going to make them more money. I feel like there should be more government programs in place, and I'm just keeping it real, because they take so much in tax dollars. They should be able to help this crisis, right? A lot better than what they're doing, because after all, again, we pour billions of dollars into nonsensical things, right? Why not deal with the homeless population? They do it because they don't do it because they don't want to. So back to the vacation rentals. If you are a person who is in this for a business opportunity or for wealth or gain or a future investment for your family, are you going to choose to rent to one person for the full year and get a payment on a monthly basis that you can actually get in 7 days, right? So you can literally quadruple your rental just by doing vacation rentals. If a person is going to get $1,500 a month from one tenant versus $1,500 a week from several people renting the place out, what is the logical thing to do? Now, I know from a rental standpoint, it sounds like it's unfair. It sounds like it's unfair. This is why I said that our government, because they take so much in taxes and all these other things, and they're putting money into things that we shouldn't be putting it into. They're sending money overseas to other countries and things of that nature. That can go into providing more housing for the homeless population so that people don't look at a homeowner who owns a vacation rental and say, it's not fair. You see? Because that homeowner or that landlord has the right to do what they want with their home, correct? But at the same time, the person who is living there wants security in being there. And that's what you are not getting in this current economy. You're not getting the security of living in a rental home when at any moment someone can pull the carpet out from under you. That is a very, very uncomfortable feeling. Very uncomfortable. The same with the job market. It's uncomfortable thinking that you have a job. The next day you go to work and you don't have a job. So all of this stuff is so uncertain, and it all ties into the perilous times that the Bible say that we were going to see, right? The Bible talks about a number of things that are going to happen in the last days. Men's hearts failing them for fear. All of these terrible things happening, the distress of nations. All of this stuff has been talked about, right? And so it's only going to get worse. It's going to go from bad to worse, family. But when you look at it, when you look at the homeless crisis, I just wanted to show you one connection, one reason where people are opting to rent to, people who just want a vacation for a while, or someone who needs a place to stay other than a hotel. That's also another topic of a discussion as well. A lot of these vacation rentals are putting hotels out of business. Hotels can no longer compete with vacation rentals because they are not offering the same thing. Now, they still exist, and some of them are nicer than others, right? But I'm talking about for those that are not really meant to be top-notch hotels, they now have to compete with vacation rentals where people can go and get the whole house or get a more personal stay someplace, get something that's a lot more accommodating and private. This is what is happening. From a business standpoint, no one cares about the homeless crisis. And that's the problem when you have a capitalist nation that doesn't care about the poor population. And they only care about the bottom line. Now, I'm not saying that a landlord in and of itself is wrong for having a vacation rental. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all wrong with having vacation rentals. I'm talking about from a political standpoint. That should mobilize our government, whether Democrat or Republican. That should mobilize them to seek to solve this problem, right? Seek to solve it. But what we've heard is that the government even is helping to change the environment of things. Ain't that something? So it's like, do folk want the chaos? Do they want the chaos? I've noticed that even a lot of people who were accepting Section 8, they don't want it no more. That's a guaranteed payment from the government. They don't want it because guess what they are doing? Vacation rentals. Anyway, that is my update on this very, very serious crisis. This is my update on it. Tell me what you think in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the homeless crisis here in America? As always, keep it tight and keep it right. But until next time, I'm out. We hope you liked today's topic. Please leave your comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it like this video, and with that, we're out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.